What's up guys, Manny from Motomillion, and today is new wheel day. Guys, it's new wheel day, they're finally here. The forged magnesium wheels from OZ Racing arrived. We ordered these all the way back in May of this year, and now it's October when we're filming this. I think that's like 6 months or so, or 5 months, whatever it is. It was a long time. And I was being very patient. I really wanted to see these on the bike, but I also wanted to know, are forged magnesium wheels going to be lighter than the carbon wheels that are on the bike? Nothing against carbon wheels, it's just that I've seen a lot of horror stories with carbon wheels on these BMWs, and I just wanted to run something different and something that is worthy of being on the M1000RR as well. We do get our hands on forged aluminum wheels pretty easily for this bike, but these we had to jump through some hoops to order these. These are not that readily available or part of OZ Racing's catalog, but they're here. The front wheel is the same as the K67 S1000RR. It will fit also an S1000 single R and an M1000 single R. It's the rear wheel that's completely different on these bikes because of this quick change setup. We decided to go with black color. The stock wheels obviously are carbon, so they're black. I think blue was the other choice that we thought of. It might have been a little too much color, I think, on the bike. The bike is pretty monotone with its carbon fiber scheme that's going on, and we didn't really want to mess with it because I think it's inherently the signature of this bike that it has so much carbon. I don't think there was any BMW other than the HB4 race that had this much carbon or even more, but that had a paint scheme on it. This one, you could tell from a mile away that this is an M1000RR. You're not going to mistake this for an S1000RR or anything else on the road. So we want to go with the theme. Let's say we want to make it OEM plus. So we want to make it look OEM, but we want to add a little bit of touch and maybe put more quality parts or better quality parts. Regardless of that, we're going to dress these up. We don't have them today, but there's the rim tapes that we ordered from BMW. They're pretty pricey, guys. They were like 240 bucks for the rim tapes that are for the front and rear. We're going to put it on. Obviously, the carbon part, we'll cut it off, and maybe the M. I don't think I'm going to put the M. I just want the color on here. We'll change the valve stems. We're going to be running different tires, and just for the sake of seeing how much lighter these are or not, because I really don't know if they're going to be close. I'm not sure if they're going to be lighter, but I really want to figure it out. And what we're going to do first is we're going to strip these tires off the wheels, take everything else off, all the rotors, ABS rings, anything that's irrelevant to the wheel set is going to come off. We'll put it on the scale, we'll measure it, and we'll also mount our new tires on these wheels, and we'll put them on the bike, and we'll see how they look. Also, along the way, we're going to be changing our rear rotor to a lighter rear rotor, and the front rotors will be the T-Drive, so that we could finally complete the complete Brembo upgrade on this bike with running the T-Drives in the front. So enough talking, let's get going. Let me get these wheels off the bike, demount the tires, we'll get on the scale, and then we'll put everything else on these wheels once we know the weight, and then we'll put them back on the bike to see how they look. The rear wheel is pretty easy. It's got the quick change set up. So all we do is we undo our axle, and everything should just pop right out. And this is the beauty of the quick change setup. All you do is you get your chain out of the way, and then this wheel just comes right out like this. There we go, that's our rear wheel. What I'll do is I'll get my sprocket and the bolts out and my rotors and the ABS ring off this wheel. Then we'll remove the tires. That way we're gonna know the exact wheel weight for the rear. We're gonna do the same thing in the front, and then we'll swap everything over. There we go. That's our front wheel. We're gonna get the rotors off, ABS ring off, tires off, and we'll know the weight of this front wheel as well. I think it's a little deceiving because with the rotors, I feel like this weighs quite a bit. Feels heavier than the rear wheel. Actually, the stock front rotors are Brembo as well. Obviously, these are not the aftermarket Brembos like the T-Drives or the Super Sports. And if you guys watched the video about our brake guide, we shook the rotors and they do make noise. But since these are not fully floating, they're just pretty rigid and they really don't float. Now we got our wheels here, everything is bare. So we have our OZ Racing Magnesium forged wheels, which are the Cativas, bare with the sprocket carrier. And we have our M carbon wheels, bare with the sprocket carrier. So let's first weigh this rear wheel. The stock carbon wheel weighs at 10.60 pounds, so 10.60 pounds. The OZ Racing has the sprocket carrier on it. And this weighs at 10.22 pounds, which is 0.4 of a pound lighter, which is what I expected the rear wheel to be lighter, the front wheel to be slightly heavier. This is our M carbon wheel, and it's 5.8 pounds, so 5.82 pounds in the front. And our OZ Racing Katiwa wheel is going to be 5.82, 86. So it's 0.04 pounds heavier than the carbon wheel, which is very negligible. I know some of you guys are going to come and talk about moment of inertia, where it means that when this wheel spins, it's causing inertia, and wherever the weight is located is going to cause it to have different characteristics. Don't forget, magnesium is very light. As you can see, it's almost as light, if not lighter, than carbon wheels. And the moment of inertia between these two wheels are not going to be that much different. Maybe a little bit on the spokes, but other than the spokes, the wheel, the rim itself, which is the outside part of the wheel, is going to be almost the same weight, because if not, this really can't be that much lighter. So there we have it, guys. I'm happy. The front wheel's 0.04 pounds heavier, the rear is 0.4 pounds lighter. So in total, the wheel set is lighter, 0.36 pounds or something of that range, but we know that the new wheel set is lighter. Also, the wheels are not carbon, they're metal, and they're DOT rated, guys. This is a surprise to me. Katiwas were never ever DOT rated. It has a DOT stamping on it. These are race only wheels, but I guess they did get some sort of a DOT certification that they did put on this as well. Before we mount and balance our tires, we have to install our rotors and everything else that goes on it, so that we get a true balance on the wheel. And we have our pizza box, which has our T-Drive rotors. So right away, as I mentioned, these things don't rattle. These things rattle. If you install these on your bike or any other floating rotor like the Super Sport, when you push your bike, you might think that your front bearings are going bad, because they do rattle a little bit in low speeds, like it's just walking pace if you're walking the bike around. But it has the added benefits. We have the brake guide video that we released for you guys, so you guys can go check it out. Other than that, the benefits are these rotors are thinner than these aftermarket rotors. It's marginally thinner. When you put them side by side, it's even very, very hard to see it with the naked eye. But the thickness of this rotor gives us the heat capacity that we want for this rotor surface outside, which houses all the heat that you put the bike through. And I just want to check the weights, because this probably is going to be a little heavier because it's thicker. So it's 3.3 pounds versus 3.24 pounds. So it actually is lighter, which is news to me, but hey, we saved some weight on this end. If you own a BMW or mostly any other bike, when you're changing your rotors, these rotor bolts are one-time use. We're going to be running our Pro-Tie bolts. One cool thing is that they come with pre-applied Loctite, and that really helps with installation of things. And then we have these little bolts that are for the ABS ring bolts. I'm not even going to go through the trouble of weighing them, but let me get these on the front wheel, and then we'll do the rear wheel setup with the sprocket and everything else, so that we could get the tires mounted and balance them. This is our front wheel ready to mount. We have all the hardware on it. We changed our valve stems to red just to add a little bit of color. And don't forget, we are going to be putting the wheel rim tapes on it, the BMW ones. And there is no blue OZ Racing stickers or red. Maybe we'll find blue or red ones, or once we get the wheel stickers that are on the OEM wheels, we might just remove this OZ Racing sticker off of here. And this is our new sprocket for the new wheels. Just a heads up, if you buy any aftermarket wheel, most likely your stock sprocket won't fit. That's why we're changing the sprocket. I decided to go with a black one. It's a black Sitta. It's very unusual. We custom ordered this. We waited for this for a little while. I'm not too sure, but it's just a sprocket if we need to change it. Thanks to the quick change setup, we could just pull the wheel out and change it if we need to. And just to note, we barely put any miles on the bike. Usually when you're changing your sprocket, it's advised to change the chain and the front sprocket as well. But in this case, the bike barely got any miles on it after we installed that, so we should be good. Now that we got the front wheel together And we have our sprocket and the sprocket carrier together. Now we're going to install our rotors and ABS ring. This is the ultralight rotor that we have. Again, a lot of people get a little concerned that it's missing so much rotor material. It's okay. For most people, again, this is on our brake guide video. If you haven't watched it, go ahead and watch it. These rotors are perfectly fine. They're used in the Motor America series as well. And I just wanted to do a weight check to see how much weight we're saving. So this rear rotor is just 1.1 pounds. And let me grab the stock rear rotor. Let's see how much is that. And that's 1.68 pounds. So it's about half a pound of savings, a little over half a pound of savings. We'll take that. Our goal is to put the most power to the rear wheel, and this is not compromising anything in terms of braking as well, since I mentioned if the pros are using it on Motor America, I'm sure us on the street will be okay. So let's put this on, then the tires, and then I really want to see everything on the bike. Just like our front wheels, we're going to be running some prototype bolts. I'm going to use some different colors just to have different colors on the wheel. We did think about running blue bolts or gold bolts, but I think it really doesn't play well with the color scheme of this bike. We do have some blue accents on the bike, but I think it would have been too much blue. But if you think otherwise, put it in the comments below. And we're also going to be running a complete prototype fairing bolt kit on the bike. What color should we run it? They're available in blue, silver, black, and gold. So the choice is yours to let us know what you would do. So here's our wheels and tires mounted, guys, and we did go with the Pirelli Supercorsa V4. Some of you might wonder why did we switch the tires and why the Supercorsa V4s. Well, the Supercorsa tires come on the Ducatis, and I'm a Ducati fanboy, so that's why I went with it. No, I'm just kidding, guys. The Supercorsas actually are a better road tire, in my opinion, than the Michelin Pilot Super Sports or the Pilot Sports that were on the bike from the factory, because I did get caught in the rain once and they were hydroplaning like crazy at some points, and we do live in Miami. Our winters are beautiful, our summers are horrible in terms of rain and heat, and they did not do well in the rain. And I believe these tires will actually do a lot better in the rain, even though they're really not rain tires, but they're what we call a streetable track tire. They do better in the wet conditions. That's why I'm using them. I really like how they feel and what the feedback is, but then again, I don't do any crazy stuff on the road, but I just know that if I ever hit any wet conditions, I could be a little more confident on these tires than the Michelin Pilot Sports that came stock on the bike. Oh, something cool, that this is actually a sticker. Well, there's a sticker that covers this SP logo. And I want to peel this off. Look at that. That's even more red now. So that kind of gives it a little bit of a color on the wheel. But let's install these beauties on the bike. Now that our front wheel is on, our axle's on, I'm gonna torque the axle, torque my pinch bolts, get the aero wheel covers back on the bike, and then we'll go to the back and put everything together. The back's much easier. I'm gonna have to remove the bike from the front stand and bounce it on the front brakes a little bit so that we can center those calipers, and then we'll torque the calipers down as well. And there you have it, the wheels are on. I know they need a little bit of a color. Once that rim tape is here, you could be sure that I'll be the first one to jump here to try to put them on the bike. But overall, it's a win-win. We saved a little bit of weight with the wheels, but also some of the components we used that we showed save weight. And to my surprise, the T-Drives are lighter. Our ultralight rear rotor is much lighter, so that's why it's a win-win. And if you guys are wondering about any of the products that we use in this video, it'll be always linked in the description below, especially these wheels. And if you have an M1000RR, we do have some of these wheels in stock now, and even if they go out of stock, we should be able to special order for you. And then being DOT rated, it makes it easier for us to be able to offer it to you guys road riders as well. But also, if you're an S1000RR rider or S1000 single R or an M1000 single R rider, look out for a new video that's going to be coming up shortly. It's called the Ultimate Wheel Guide for the S1000RR and M1000RR. We'll go more in depth about the wheels and the options you have. We'll do some weight comparisons there as well. And We're not done with this bike. We have more things coming. I could tell you that our tank is dropped off at the painter. So are the winglets. We're getting rid of these M's. We're gonna keep the red and the blue on each side. We're keeping the M on the tank. We decided with it, I knew that I went on a huge mission to remove as many M's as possible, but I think the M on the tank is very distinctive to the bike. Also, as we're making this video, our subframe is on its way to us. As soon as it's here and the decals for the subframe are here, we're gonna address that as well. But until then, if you like the video, please give it a thumbs up. If you have any questions or comments, leave them down below. Until next time, guys, have a good one.